Hi, my name is Christy Burnett, and I'm the yoga therapist. I've been teaching yoga and working with students for over 30 years. As a full-time yoga teacher practitioner, I've seen a tremendous benefit in children practicing yoga as a holistic lifestyle. One, we're working in a group setting, so the students are guiding one another, matching the movement with their breath, and it's teaching an element of patience. It's also being mindful in the movements, guiding with breath, slowing down movements, so purposeful action. When we begin, the younger children, we're doing single element movements. So that might be sitting and lifting the arms, lowering the arms, right? So that's purposeful. And then as they progress, we add layers to it. So that would transition from arms up, arms down to all fours back into a sitting. So we're adding layers of movement, and all of them are coordinated with the breath, ultimately slowing down and creating more mindful movement. As they keep improving, we keep adding the layers. So some of the children now are already up to 4 and 5 elements of linking movement together. And later we can transition that into stopping when the body is wanting to move, creating a dynamic where the body slows down, the mind tunes up the actions, and then you can just see the child light up. They just look so vibrant and their energy level goes up. But it's not a chaotic energy, it's a very practiced form of movement, and it's just, there's nothing like it. Over time, I've seen the students go from basically not even wanting to sit still on a mat to being able to do a full hour practice mindfully, piece by piece. And then those students building onto other activities, maybe they're doing drumming, maybe they're writing poetry from spellers over the internet. They're bringing all of those pieces together. I've got one student now who does his pole walking. He'll do his yoga twice a week. He's a phenomenal poet. He just writes and writes, and it just is moving. So to have a speller with those goals and be able to share that, and that's true. One student who I'm thinking of, when he started, he wouldn't sit still, and his attention span was very limited. And now he can sit and go through a college course online and work for hours at a time, getting up periodically, and his dad will take him out and they'll go on a run, they'll go to the park and do flexed arm hangs, I'll come over and do a yoga session. But it's very much built in this habit of mindful movement throughout the day to increase his duration of comfort sitting and being able to not be flustered in a situation that normally would have triggered him. Certain responses I've gotten is that it's giving boundaries, that they know a start and a stop as opposed to a movement. So it's putting purpose behind the movement. And while the movement is occurring, the thought process of stage 2, stage 3, so that we're breaking down actions into foundation, focal point, and mindfulness, right? So foundation is what's on the ground, feeling the feet. We'll speak about where's the feet, how are the hips feeling, are you sitting, are you extending? So posing questions and then watching the body respond to corrections or information as opposed to adjusting. So when I first get started with a student, I might be touching the back and feel your hand on my back, feel your shoulders moving back. And then later it's a visual cue. Imagine my hand on your low back. Feel your body sitting upright. And then the next cueing might be find your center. And so they bring all those pieces together. And then from foundation, we go to what we call the focal point. So focal point is either going to be breathing into the core of the pelvis or at low abdomen, expanding in the heart center, or reaching up through the crown of your head. So we go through stages in the body. Notice here, notice here. And as each piece lines up, it's like climbing a ladder and the body just kind of lengthens up. So then you turn that into a speller. Now you've got good form. So the person holding the board now has a consistent placement. The student has a consistent accuracy, and the two coming together, now we've reached our next goal, which is a positive form of communication and expression, and that just leads to opening every door that we want. Well, we've been doing this here now 2 months, right? Mm-hmm. And when we started, there was a lot of commotion, a lot of moving parts, but now there's consistency. So with the consistency, we're able to build. So I would say after 8 weeks, we've seen tremendous shift. I'm thrilled with it. And if the student has the capacity to have their parents or caregiver work with them at home a little bit, it amplifies it. We're doing this once a week. If they also can do one little item a day, how much better are you at anything if you do it once a day, right? So we're not going to tie our shoe the first time, but we are going to get to the point where we're recognizing steps to get to that point. So as we progress and the caregiver family member is there for support, we're working as a community, and that's where the big change. Like if I would want to know, what are they doing in class, right? So I started putting out a pose of the week. So I've been writing down what we're doing so the teachers have what the poses are that we've been working on. So now when they have free time or they take a little bit of a break, they've got some tools too. So they know they can work on sitting upright. They know they can work on table. They know they can work toward down dog. And down dog is a pose that everyone thinks of when they think of yoga, but there's building blocks that are happening in place there, right? So they're having to push the ground. They're feeling their shoulders move back. They're letting their hips rise up. They're striking their heels downward. So this is a very weight-bearing pose. And if you compare it to giving squeezes and stuff, it's like your body doing that to itself. Compliments like the eye therapy, okay, because we're changing our gazing point. So when we first start, the arms are what's moving, but then later the arms move, the head moves, the eyes move, and we can say when an arm goes out to one side, our eyes move that way. So it's also working in conjunction with the eye therapy. Going with the drumming, we're doing left and rights and lefts and rights. We're repetitive there, so that matches really well with that. There's boundaries. We're on a mat. So there's some guidelines, like this is your stamp, this is your space. So we've got the pose of the week that we're doing. Different age groups, we're doing different poses. We also have a meditation or a script per se of breath work, because breath work is the gateway to all of our body's movements. Coordinating things with the breath, we either can slow it down or create more expansion, lung capacity, that type of thing. So they'll do a breath work, they'll do a mindful movement, or we'll call it a yoga posture, and then they'll do a meditation, and that usually is done in a resting place, laying down, eyes are shut, being in your body, feel the ground, notice your breath, take time to be present. And we just slow it down so that the student can rest their eyes, nice, can rest their ears, right? So we don't have to always be hearing, but we can be feeling.